Good morning students. I hope you are following videos properly. In last class we discussed about Vice President, Prime Minister, the two houses of Parliament, that is Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. Now you recall your memory and try to answer my questions. Who is our Vice President? Mr. Venkaiah Naidu. Which article deals with the duties of the Prime Minister? Article 78. Which is the legislative organ of the Union Government? The Parliament. What is the term of office for the Rajya Sabha? 6 years. How many members are there in Lok Sabha? 545 members. Now we'll move on into the other topics. First one, the speaker. The Lok Sabha is presided over by the speaker who is elected by its members. That is, after the election is over, the majority party, they will select one as a prime minister and they will select one as a speaker. That speaker will preside over the Lok Sabha. The speaker occupies an essential position in our parliamentary democracy because all the functions are carried under the supervision of our speaker in Lok Sabha. The speaker provides over a joint sitting of the two houses of parliament. That is, whenever there is a need, the two houses join together. That time the speaker will preside over the joint sitting of both Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, and he has the power to decide whether a bill is a money bill or an ordinary one. That is, all monetary bills comes under a money bill. So this can be decided by our speaker. The next one, powers and functions of Parliament. The Parliament of India has the functions of legislation, overseeing of administration, that is checking of all ministers of the country, passing of budget, that is annual expenditures, that is income and expenditures of the country, ventilation of public grievances. If people have any grievances, they can approach through their MPs. The MPs will raise question and they will find solutions through Lok Sabha. Discussion of various subjects like development plans, that is plans for the development of the country, and to maintain international relation, that is maintaining relation with world countries and making policies for internal policies, that is for the development of the country. Then second, Parliament is also vested with powers to impeach the president and to remove judges of Supreme Court and High Court. That is, impeachment is very important under our democracy. When the executives like our President, Chief Justice of Supreme Court, High Court, that is judges, Chief Election Commissioner, Controller of Auditor General, these come under our executive section of our government. If they are committing any mistake, they can be removed from the power by doing this impeachment through our parliament. The parliament has the power to change the boundaries of the state. That is, think about last year, the government divided Kashmir into Kashmir and Ladakh. And earlier, Andhra Pradesh and Telangana. This is possible by passing something in the parliament. These are the powers and functions of the parliament. The next one is Attorney General of India. Attorney. Article 76 has provided for office of the Attorney General for India. According to Article 76, we are appointing our Attorney General. He is the highest law officer in the country. He is appointed by the President. Always executive officers are appointed by our President. Regarding the duties and functions of Attorney General of India, to give advice to the Government of India upon such legal matters which are referred to him by the President. So he is the highest legal officer, so he will give advice to our Government of India. Attorney General of India has the right of audience in all courts in the territory of India. That is, he can sit in all courts of India, both Supreme Court and High Courts of the country, as well as to take part in the proceeding of both the houses of the Parliament. He has the right to sit in both the houses, that is, in both Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. He can sit and he can listen to the proceeding of the houses. These are the duties and functions of our Attorney General of India. So, we discussed about under our legislature. So far we discussed about Parliament, Rajya Sabha, Lok Sabha, as well as our Speaker and Attorney General. All this comes under the legislature. The third unit of the central government is judiciary. So now next topic we'll talk about judiciary. Judiciary is the third organ of the government. It plays a vital role in protecting the rights and freedom of the citizens. The Supreme Court is the guardian of the Constitution. Our judiciary is autonomous of the legislative and executive wing of the union and state government. That is, Supreme Court is considered as the highest court of the country, and it is autonomous. It is separated from our legislative and executive wing of our union government. An integrated judiciary means a single judicial hierarchy for the whole country. That is, single judicial hierarchy. Regarding this hierarchy, now look into the picture. There you can see a triangle. At the last we have the local courts, that is the local courts available in every places of the country. See, for example, consider our district. You can see court at Vallayur, Ambasamutram, Sangarangoil, like that. That comes under local courts. After that we have district courts. In each district we have, near our Bell School, opposite to Bell School, you can see our district court. Then we have High Court. High Court we have at Chennai, branch at Madurai. Same way in every state we have High Court. The superior one is Supreme Court, that is, it is situated in Delhi. It was inaugurated on January 28, 1950. That is, while we implemented our constitution, that is on January 26. So after 2 days we inaugurated our Supreme Court in India. At present in Supreme Court we have 34 judges, including the Chief Justice of India. Whether you heard the Chief Justice of India, Mr. Ranjan Gogoi. Regarding the appointment of judges, that is, the Chief Justice of Supreme Court in India is appointed by the President of India. The Chief Justice is appointed by the President. The other judges are appointed by the President in consultation with the collegiums with Chief Justice head. Collegium is the union of High Court and Supreme Court judges. So the President will discuss with these judges and they will decide and they will appoint the judges for other courts. That is the meaning of appointment of judges. Regarding the qualification, first one, he must be a citizen of India. Regarding every appointment for Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha, President, Vice President, as well as this judges, first basic qualification, he must be a citizen of India. And he should have worked as a judge of a high court for at least 5 years. Then he should have worked as an advocate of high court for at least 10 years. So as a judge in high court as well as an advocate for at least 10 years. He is, in opinion of the President, a distinguished jurist. Jurist means one who gave good judgments to the people. That's the meaning of distinguished jurist. So you want to get a good opinion from our President. One who qualifies all this, he can be appointed as a Chief Justice for India. The Chief Justice and other judges of Supreme Court hold the office up to the age of 65 years. So maximum age limit is 65 years. The Parliament also has power to remove the judges by invoking impeachment provisions. Regarding our functions of Parliament, we discuss about this. That is impeachment. If they are committing any mistake, they have removed from the power by implementing impeachment. The Supreme Court of India is at New Delhi. That is, the permanent place is at New Delhi. Now we'll move into the powers and functions of the Supreme Court. First one is original jurisdiction. The cases which are brought directly in the first instance to the Supreme Court come under original jurisdiction. That is, people, those who are approaching Supreme Court directly. So this may be due to dispute between the government of India and one or more states. That is, if any problem arises between two different states, see for example, while sharing river Kaveri water, we have a dispute between Tamil Nadu and Karnataka. So directly Tamil Nadu government approached the Supreme Court. That is, dispute between two states. Same way, dispute between two or more states. The writ are issued by the Supreme Court for the enforcement of the fundamental rights. So you know it, in last lesson we discussed about these writs. How many writs are there? There are totally 5 writs. That is, our habeas corpus, mandamus, prohibition, certiorari and quo warranto. These are the 5 writs mentioned by our Supreme Court. These are the original jurisdiction. That is, for the first instance directly we can approach the Supreme Court. Then the second one is appellate jurisdiction. That is, the Supreme Court is the final appellate court in the country. As regards the appellate jurisdiction, the Supreme Court hears appeals against the decision of high courts in civil, criminal and constitutional cases with a certificate from the High Court that it is fit to appeal in the Supreme Court. That is, as regards as this appellate jurisdiction, if people are not satisfied in the decision of the High Court, they can approach to the Supreme Court. That's the meaning of appellate jurisdiction. So basically we are dividing cases into civil and criminal, so and constitutional, that is regarding our fundamental rights. So people can approach our Supreme Court. So Supreme Court is considered as the final appellate jurisdiction. The next one is advisory jurisdiction. The Constitution confers on the President the power to refer to the Supreme Court any question of law or fact which in his opinion is of public importance. If anything is important for the public, the Supreme Court will give advice to the President. That is, for example, the Supreme Court grant permission to women to visit Sabarimala Ayyappan temple. That is a recent one. I am telling this as a simple example. Then last one, miscellaneous, that is extra things done by the Supreme Court. Miscellaneous jurisdiction. The law declared by Supreme Court is binding on all courts within the territory of India. That is, in single hierarchy I told you about our High Court, district courts and local courts. All are binded with the order made by the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court is authorized to make rules for regulating generally the practice and procedure of the court with the approval of the President. So all the procedures are directed by our Supreme Court. Then next one, judicial review. The power of judiciary to declare a law as unconstitutional is known as judicial review. If any of the High Court committed any mistake, that is, if they are issuing an order as unconstitutional, the Supreme Court will voluntarily review that one. That is judicial review. The Supreme Court alone enjoys this power. The Supreme Court of India has individual review power with regard to dispute between the center and the states. If there is any problem arise between the state government and the central government, the Supreme Court will deal these kind of cases. For example, conducting NEET exams in Tamil Nadu, we have a problem between the state government and the central government. The next, to interrupt and clarify a provision of the Constitution about which there are some doubts and differences of opinion. So the Supreme Court will clarify a provision to the people. Then protecting the fundamental rights. There are 6 fundamental rights are guaranteed by our Constitution. These are protected by our Supreme Court. So only we are calling Supreme Court as a guardian of our Constitution. Those laws passed by the legislatures which are not in accordance with the Constitution, that is, laws passed by the legislative assemblies of both Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, and there also the Supreme Court interfere. That is, if it is not in accordance with the Constitution, there the Supreme Court will interfere in the legislature also. That is about the judicial review of our Supreme Court. Regarding the Supreme Court, that is regarding powers, they have original jurisdiction, appellate jurisdiction, advisory jurisdiction, miscellaneous jurisdiction, and judicial review. So in today's class, we discussed about the Speaker, Attorney General, Judiciary. That is all about our Supreme Court and its powers and functions of Supreme Court. I hope you understood this. Followed by this video, you can mark all the short answer, detailed answer, one words and extra one words from PDF. Mark everything properly. If you have any doubt, you can ask me through your class teachers. Thank you, Ma.